Good day. Well, actually, good evening. Good night. Good morning. Good
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good brunch. Is that a time now?
That is not.
Is it not a time? Could you not say that?
No.
Good brunch time.
No, you couldn't say that. No. I mean, this podcast will take less time if you don't go through every single minute, every microsecond of time.
We've got to fill some seconds.
Somebody could be listening to.
Well, I heard that the longer the podcast, the more revenue. No, listen, we'll crack on. Hello, it's midnight. Hello, it's midnight and 1 minute. Hello, it's... No. Welcome to the podcast. It is Dave Moore and Neil Delamere. We are part of Why Would You Tell Me That? And we're here to bring you facts, wild stories, amazing things that we have learned. I must say, Neil, I like your pants.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why do you like my trousers?
Because they're very... In fact, with your combination of T-shirt and white runners, you're very... Yacht billionaire.
Yacht billionaire?
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting off you.
So yacht billionaire as in, have I worked hard for it? Has it been like a pallet making company in haulage? Have I designed a widget for something, gotten lucky and actually shared all of the, given share options to the employees and therefore being a bit sound about it? As sound as a billionaire can be.
I was going to say, you're conflagrating two things there. Soundness and billionaires do not mix, okay? I don't think you could be a billionaire and be sound. I think if you're a billionaire, you've shafted employees along the way, constantly buying and selling similarly sized, small, whatever it was a pallet building company around the world, got and exploited a third world market. Right. That's how you became. If you were a yacht millionaire, where you were perhaps leasing a small enough yacht. Then I think perhaps you could be sound, but I don't think you'd be dressed as well as you are now. This is billionaire bling right here.
So here I'm going to give you some options for my billionaire status. Have I done as we said, built it up from nothing?
Sure.
But exploited lots of people.
Yeah.
B, crypto. Am I a crypto billionaire?
No.
Or am I C, like full on cluster bombs, contacts with Russian arms dealers? Like Bond villain
type billionaire
will foment a revolution in the country and warfare to make more money.
No, I think you're the first one in the sense that you did start from humble beginnings.
Yes. Did I?
There was a point where you were sound.
Am I on like a Balkan headland in the film, squeezing the life out of somebody from behind, and then
no,
going, shh,
no,
you're
not at all.
Just
you're not
collapses.
at all. No, what's happened is you began from humble beginnings. Do you know what you still have around you? You still have the original 3 employees that started with you, who are now all millionaires.
Yeah,
they're all, and you look after them, and they are your true confidants.
Yeah,
but you are the billionaire. Beyond that, you have then begun to exploit the environment, the workforce, all of that. That's all.
I have a bunker in New Zealand somewhere.
That's all fine, and right?
Yeah.
You're not the crypto billionaire because although you are someone who has the beard of potentially a crooked billionaire, you don't have the glowing white teeth.
No. And like the proper turkey. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's Turkey. I think they go to somewhere else we don't even know about. They're on a new level.
There's a cave in Cappadocia.
Yeah, there's a Middle Eastern vibe off those teeth. So no, you don't have that. So I don't think. Plus, I mean, the misogyny isn't quite there strong enough.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not yet.
Like, not yet. I mean, you're building towards it. Not yet. And then the whole kind of, with the arms dealers and that. No, I mean that's not you. That would be. I'd have you more in military fatigues.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like you'd be
Vladimir Zelensky,
that type of
so basically you've built a 4-minute backstory based on trousers and a t-shirt. I mean you really do have to fill time on that radio station, don't you?
It is 00 and 3 minutes.
Welcome. That's that. I mean, what's the name of my yacht, by the way?
The name of your yacht is
people have gone suspiciously missing off the yacht. I mean, that is the bare minimum I would expect.
As a billionaire, of course.
Okay.
Staff in particular.
Staff and indeed invited guests.
Yes, exactly. I mean, invited guests, for example, of rival companies or indeed like burgeoning companies who have yet to, but they're attracted. You made a generous offer.
They refused it, but now they're in the Caspian Sea.
They're in the Caspian Sea because then all you have to do is you lift your pen and you turn it 180 degrees where the point is pointing, the nib is pointing towards the guest.
Yeah.
At which point, two giant Balkan men put a sack over the head. And as you said, then the Caspian Sea is where they end up. So that's absolutely happened.
So I do have Serbs, like a couple of Serb lads.
Yeah, there's a couple of Bulgarians, tattooed Bulgarians, but they're in unbelievable Armani suits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they stand quietly with their hands folded,
waiting for the famous
pen
nib
switch, the nib point,
the nib point.
And
it's a well worn.
Your boat is called Board Namona. On board Namona.
Very good. Okay.
Because you never lost your Offaly roots.
No, so, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I bought a yacht because I've been from a landlocked county. It wasn't the money. I actually never really believed that they existed.
True.
The boats existed.
Yeah.
And then once I got enough money from my exploitation of the rare earth minerals, stroke turf, stroke something else, I went crazy and bought a pair of linen trousers from Uniqlo or whatever it's called. What's that? I can't remember.
Uniqlo. I think that's a good name for it. Yeah.
I was about to say all the same stuff to you.
Were you?
I was about to say to you, if this is yacht, that is you've taken a pedalo off a child. You've taken a pedalo of a child or a lilo, but it's a lilo. No, it's a swan. You've knocked.
It is a swan. A swan with a slide off the back.
You've knocked a 5-year-old off some sort of confectionery dispensing and novelty kind of floatable. Yeah. And you have taken his top,
and his
shorts, and everything else.
Yeah.
And he's just swimming around. It's not like the Adriatic or the Aegean. Do
you know what it is? It's a man-made. It's a man-made body of water.
Park.
No, it's a man-made body of water in an outdoor shopping centre.
Oh,
that's
Cons Water.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wearing this for any particular reason?
I am wearing
going
this
to the match
reason.
tonight.
I'm going.
Why
to
don't
see.
we talk about that in the bonus episode?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you got all that from this.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay. Yeah.
Or alternatively, I just got back from holidays and I don't have anything else cleaning.
This is true. Yes,
but the holiday was on my own yacht.
Yeah. Well, you see, the pen nib was turned at one point.
Would that be like the? I mean, there's a sort of elegance to that, even though I don't know if the Roman emperors did that with a thumb up and the thumb down.
Yeah, but that's
to order an execution.
But my point is that's too obvious to your guest.
Yeah.
The thing with your guest is relaxed. Your guest is tense because they've been in the negotiation with you, but they feel like you've listened to them and you've understood, even though you are disappointed that they didn't accept your generous offer. And then it's merely the turning of the pen that it signals the impending debt that they are unaware of.
Okay, yeah, but I have a tendency, like a lot of people do, you would spin a pen when you would be just talking.
Oh, that's dangerous.
So are the Balkan lads behind me, are they in and out,
they're killing people like there's no, like and you're going, stop it, you're going, what
do we need a new signal? After you've snapped or garroted somebody, taken a wire out of your belt, after you've done that maybe the 5th or 6th time, at some point we go, we need a new signal.
Yeah, definitely.
What about kill that man? It will be safer.
That is probably more explicit. Yeah. I feel like that's probably a good approach.
Also, if you're on a yacht, and even the best yacht can be moved by the sea. So several people may have been killed by the actual sea.
Of course.
Because the sea has slowly caused the pen to... Could you have a pen that kills him, and then another pen as a confirmation pen?
It's getting very complicated.
Pen from, like, two keys when you have to open.
Or like nuclear. The nuclear codes. Yeah, two people at the same time have to.
So for a man to be killed, we're suggesting on my yacht, the Board Namona. Come on board Namona.
Yeah.
I would have to have 2 pens and be ambidextrous enough to turn both pens at the same time to face the person.
Yeah.
Which is a completely unnatural movement, which at that point the person's going, I think I'm going to be killed here.
But I think it's better than explicitly doing the thumbs or going, kill that man. I don't think you're that billionaire.
Oh,
you're the billionaire who will do it, but you're not the billionaire who will use that as a flex.
Right. A billionaire who will take life, but wants an overly complicated method of indicating that is what I want to happen.
And you're a billionaire, so everyone has to obey you.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm not sure that's how the law works, but
I think it is.
That's fine. I have a question for you.
Hit me.
As we start the actual podcast. Here's my question. Did you know that your screen wash in your car can save your life?
I mean, obviously, part of me would immediately go for because it cleans your windscreen so you can see clearly. But I don't think you're going to be as
That's a clever answer.
frank as that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, I'll buy that.
Okay. I mean, I've seen, for example, I'm sure there's a better answer, but I've seen on those dash cam videos cars or trucks or whatever working in like seriously muddy environments where the windscreen is literally you cannot see, and then as the wipers go, you go, oh my god, that's crazy.
Let me rephrase that then. What do you have in your? Do you have screen wash or do you have water?
I have screen wash, like a small shot of screen wash.
Yes,
and then
with a chaser of water.
A chaser of 7 liters of water. Or whatever it is.
Right, yeah, and that might be saving your life.
Oh,
okay, that's a little bit exaggerated, but you've heard of Legionnaire's disease.
I probably have it.
No, you've heard of Legionnaire's
I've heard of it. I certainly have. Yeah.
So it's a nasty bacterial infection, sort of pneumonia.
Yeah.
And obviously, what they say about everything, if you have a weaker immune system, it could be very bad for you.
Complicated, yeah.
So this is from, I read this the other day and went, I've got to find a proper source for this. And this is the UK Health Authority, right? A source of infection is rarely identified for Legionnaire's disease. It spreads in water droplets, right?
Okay.
We found that professional drivers are 5 times more commonly represented among community-acquired sporadic cases in England and Wales than expected.
So professional drivers, immediately I go F1 drivers. You mean people who drive for a living? So truckers, taxi drivers,
van drivers, haulage,
yeah.
All my employees in the pallet company.
5 times more likely.
Yeah. So we therefore investigated possible risk exposures in relation to driving or spending time in a motor vehicle. Okay. A case control study, including all surviving community-acquired sporadic cases in England and Wales. This was between the 12th of July in 2008 and then the 9th of March in 2009 was carried. And they had a controlled sample and all the rest. We don't really need to get into that. Those who consented were sent a questionnaire asking questions on driving habits, potential sources in vehicles and known risk factors. And what they figured out was, after they analysed it all properly, using logistic regression, I don't know what that means, I'll be honest with you, and they identified 2 exposures linked to vehicle use, okay? Associated with an increased risk of Legionnaire's disease. Driving through industrial areas.
Okay.
And driving or being a passenger in a vehicle with windscreen wiper fluid not containing added screen wash.
So just water.
Yeah. So if you think about it, that is, so it's a reservoir, it's bacteria that sits in a reservoir, heated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be heated through engine heat and on a hot day.
Yeah.
And what do we know about water that's stagnant? Bacteria, it's a breeding ground for bacteria. So if you don't add screen wash, because screen wash is it's like washing up liquid whatever.
Right.
Soap, which kills stuff.
It kills the bacteria.
You just have normal water, you're much more likely to get Legionnaire's disease.
That is incredible.
Not adding screen wash to windscreen wiper fluid is a previously unidentified risk factor and appears to be strongly associated with community-acquired sporadic cases of Legionnaire's disease. So you spray it.
Yes, of course.
And it goes onto the windscreen, or you have your windows down, or somebody else sprays it goes onto your windscreen.
Yeah. I mean, it all makes perfect sense. And if you think about how long it is between fills of your windscreen, like unless, as I said, you live in, in a dust bowl, or you live, you live in a quarry or something. Like if you just live in a normal suburban
unless you're one
area,
of the Flintstones.
Yeah.
You live in a quarry. The way we all live. We all live in quarries.
But then, because realistically, you are just going to fill it like a couple of times a year, which means it sits there for that length of time.
Yeah.
My wife's car has air conditioning, but she doesn't like
the air conditioning on.
Yeah, so she just sometimes puts the fan on, but generally everything is off.
Yeah.
And every now and again, I get a complaint from her and the family who are traveling in her car a lot more than they do in mine, that her car smells of wet dog. And I was like, well, yeah, you left banana skins there. They're like, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's when we put on the air conditioner. I was like, no, come on, of course not. So I took it to my garage, and he's like, yeah, because it's not on, it is a breeding ground for bacteria. And what's happening is it's effectively mold growing in there.
No way.
That then when you turn it on, it's not particularly bad for you or anything like that, but it is it is the smell, the stale smell you're getting is because the system isn't looping all of the time, staying, mobile. It's sitting stagnant. So then what they had to do was they actually get an amazing smoke bomb, effectively. So they roll the windows up and they put this smoke bomb bottle they plug it into the air conditioning system and they smoke all the way through and it kills everything.
No way.
And literally at one point they open the car door and it's like a James Bond movie explosion has gone off inside the car. Just these plumes of smoke come out, but it cleans all the system, kills all the bacteria, and then you keep your air conditioning running and it won't come back.
Surely, like at some point, one of them has sat in the car while that was happening, gotten out of the car, and then just said, "What year is this?" Surely you would have to do that.
I don't think you would. You wouldn't be advised to be in
full on oxygen.
Yeah, maybe.
That's amazing,
isn't it?
Just to finish up on this, because I think what's surprising is not the fact that it can give you Legionnaire's disease, right? But how much we estimated again that around 20%, like 1 in 5 community-acquired sporadic cases could be attributed to this exposure. Simple recommendation: use screen wash, mitigates.
Literally use screen. And the thing about screen wash, it is mad. And sometimes you see the big 5-litre drums.
Yeah, and you think, I'm never getting through that.
But you should. Because I think isn't that already diluted though? The small little shots are not diluted.
Right.
But the 5-litre drum is you just pour that, you go blub, 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 you pour it in,
You love a sound effect of liquid.
I do, yeah.
I just noticed this recently.
I do, yeah.
See, I think they could use you on my yacht. Because I would be just like full on Howard Hughes. I'd be in the dark watching stuff,
right?
And I would go, "How are we moving?" And they would go, "Yes," but they would secretly pocket both diesel money,
of course.
And you'd be outside going,
or you can hear the hum of the engines, sir. You'd be like, and you'd have the chase up too loud, so you'd be like, "Yeah, fine."
They just me and the chase again.
Watching this own episode over and over again.
Okay, I've got one more question for you.
Hit me.
For the first half. What is immigration delay disease?
Immigration delay disease.
Yeah.
That is a sickness that immigrants acquire when they arrive at a country but are delayed in achieving entrance.
Okay, it's a nickname for an actual condition.
I was being facetious because I was just literally saying the words over that you just gave.
No, it is a delay getting into a country.
Okay.
Right? So that's a picture of Apu Sarkar. Okay. He's a Bangladeshi man. And he was showing that's the picture I've shown you it's from a BBC article, right? And he was showing the correspondent his hands. And what you notice about his hands is he's no fingerprints.
What?
He has no fingerprints. He's 22, so this is back in 2020. So he's 28 now, okay? Lives with his family in a little village in the northern district of Bangladesh. And his grandfather was a farmer, his father was a farmer. Not that big a deal. He's a medical assistant, okay? All the men in his family have a genetic mutation so rare that they reckon there's only a handful of families have it. Now, not a big problem for his grandfather because he was a farmer. Not a big problem for his father because he was a farmer as well. But smartphones use it now, for example.
Of course.
Dermatoglyphs. These are fingerprints, right?
Okay.
So people are using biometric data on loads of things now, particularly going through airports. That's why it's been
put your fingerprints on the thing. Yeah.
Immigration delay disease. So in 2008, when he was still a boy, Bangladesh introduced national ID cards for adults.
Okay.
Database required a thumbprint. So his father went.
Don't know one of these.
So eventually he got a card that said no fingerprint, just stamped on it.
Okay.
2010, fingerprints became mandatory for passports and driver's licenses. Right. He tried several attempts. He goes in, he gets a certificate from the medical board. He got a passport, but he needs a driving license for his motorbike, but he's never gotten one. Paid the fee, passed the exam. They did not issue the license because I couldn't provide a fingerprint.
That is wild.
So he drives around now with the certificate and the license fee for the payment of the receipt and everything else. And when he gets stopped,
he explains everything.
Tries it. Sometimes they just ignore him, and he goes like, "Look
at my." Can I see? Can you? Is there a zoomed in picture, or is he just from a distance you can't really see?
There you go.
Right. So let's just have a look. Yeah, it's
There's no ridges in the tops of his fingers.
Nothing.
And twirls.
That's incredible. And it is such a rare thing.
Yeah. So the reason, I'll skip down a little bit now. By the way, some of the other things that you haven't considered, not even just logging into a phone. In 2016, the government in Bangladesh made it mandatory to match a fingerprint with the national database to buy a SIM for a mobile phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the male members of his family have SIM cards issued in his mother's name.
Of course.
Because she has fingerprints.
Yeah.
So a dermatoglyphia, which is
what it's called.
No, yeah. It was firstly became widely known in 2007 when Peter Itten, a Swiss dermatologist, was contacted by a woman in the country in her late 20s who was having trouble entering the US. So her face matched the photograph on her passport, but customs officers went, well, we can't match fingerprints because you don't have any.
Because aren't there like Mission Impossible type movie scenarios where people have acided off their fingerprints, and whether that's realistic or not, I don't know. Or
criminal organizations.
Tom Cruise has these little
you can fake someone else's fingerprints, and put latex on you
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but these are people who genuinely will go up to a machine and it won't like if it just takes a picture, I'll take a picture. But if it's looking for a pattern, there is no pattern.
Gone. Yeah. So that professor examined the woman, and she and 8 of her family members had this condition. Flat finger pads, reduced number of sweat glands in the hands, and they eventually called it immigration.
Immigration, because it delays you getting into countries.
Yeah.
I would like to be rubbed by an hieroglyphic person.
Okay.
Because I think it would be the softest massage possible. If you think about it, like, we are so much more aware, our bodies are brains are much more aware of things than we are, right? As like on our surface level. So you go into a massage, you think you're just getting, they're digging into your muscles, and that thumbprint, that fingerprint is communicating with your dermatitis. You don't know it, but it's sending signals to both of you. But if you got someone with no ridges,
right,
their little rub on your shoulders,
it will be the smoothest rub that you've ever had.
I'd love a smooth rub.
You're suggesting that what they need to do, okay, you sound like some sort of beef, side of beef there. You're suggesting that they need to eschew their current jobs,
employment, whatever that is,
and open up a specific spa, and only hire people, the handful of people around the world, who have no fingerprints.
That's right.
Okay.
Imagine how, and you'd sell that to the billionaires on the boats who would be straight in for it. Now,
what I like about this is it's so rare. You've created demand here, and billionaires will pay shite for any money.
Yeah, they have to be
they'll
the
pay
ones
shite for any money. That's
pay
not
money
sense.
for any shite.
They'll pay money for any old shite.
Yeah, because they have to be able to tell their other billionaire friends, "Oh, have you never had an dermatoglyphic massage?"
I wonder when is the first time you noticed that you've got no fingerprints.
Yeah, because you'd have to be adult enough to understand what a fingerprint is.
Or you're finger painting in school as a 4 or 5-year-old, and then yours just look unusually smooth.
Yeah, smooth
and they think
blob.
somebody else you faked it with a carrot or something like that. Rather than taking it easier, you just put your hands in the paint.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
I think there's something there. I think if you were to employ the as you said, the small number, the exclusive number of fingerprintless, and then of course you'd want to breed them to create the next generation of fingerprintless.
See, this has gone from suggesting that these people with this unusual genetic condition open up their own spa.
Oh no. We're billionaires on a yacht.
To the sentence, then you'd want to breed them, which I think probably stepped over the line there.
It probably did. But hey,
listen, it's been suggested before in 1998 after Offaly won their last Hurling All Ireland. Simon Whelan, his brother of Brian Whelan, there's 3 brilliant brothers in it, and had won the All Ireland, and he brought the cup to DCU. And me and my friend were one of the few Offaly students in the DCU, and we brought him out and got him drunk.
Yeah, right.
And then suggested we could find an amazing camogie player and breed the next generation
of
hurlers. And I'm just suggesting that, once something is successful, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to eugenics.
It seems to be the case.
It
took us about 25 minutes to get here.
Yeah. I like your trousers, and suddenly we're force breeding random people from Switzerland and Bangladesh round the world to make more money.
I do apologise.
Who said capitalism is fundamentally corrupt at its core? I think it's nonsense.
That's why we're on yachts.
Yeah. Okay, that's the first half.
All right, well, part 2 is on the way.
Welcome back to part 2, where we've just bought an abandoned industrial warehouse, and we're currently buying a shipload of Barry Manilow, Barry White, and various other old-time classic love-making soundtracks.
Your solution to eugenics being successful is Barry Manilow.
No, I'm suggesting that I want them to produce, but I want the conditions to be as nice to them as possible.
I was more thinking lab scenarios here, but you go with your little silk sheet and love den, if that's what you're going for. Yeah,
I'm thinking Barry White rather than Barry Manilow.
Okay, right. Yeah, makes sense.
Say it with me, and you have to. There's a huge one of my pen-nibbed signal recipients is on the door, and when you knock on the door, he opens a little slit,
of course,
and you have to say Copacabana, and that is the bastard to get into the breeding facility.
I have a question for you.
Okay,
how many times a week would you use Google Maps?
So Google Maps now goes, there's an accident on the road. Mm-hmm. There's an object on the road. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes, but that's why I use it. The guards might be up ahead, but
True.
I wouldn't use it for that now.
No, but it's there as a use.
It's there as that. Thank you for being helpful.
Are the police still there? Oh, yes, they are.
Yes, they are, and they're not happy about it. You should be able to do a combination of reporting that the guards are still there, and then a smiley face or sad face of what the guard looks like.
That's
like on the other market research thing. I would say I would use it, 4 times a week, 5 times a week.
I would use it an awful lot. I use it certainly. I was driving in the UK on my holidays.
And all the time.
Like all the time. So anytime I'm anywhere, it has become a kind of a fundamental part of my life, certainly, and most people's lives.
Yeah.
There are 2 billion monthly users of Google Maps.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of the 10 most used products on Earth.
Right.
So it's right up there. It's right up there.
We use it on the yacht.
You do, of course you do, yeah. Actually, one of the interesting things about Google Maps is, the traffic colors. So blue when you're your route and it says go here. Yeah. Blue is moving freely. Yeah. Orange a bit busier. Do you know how they measure those? Because
some when you're running late, sometimes you want it to look like a vein, but sometimes it looks like an artery.
I see.
How do I measure this? Phone signal? I don't know.
So it's phones.
Is it?
Google Maps is constantly it's triangulating your position with 2 satellites and your phone. Right? And what it's doing is, it is going, well, I know that's there, and I know that's there, and I know that's that there. And so it's constantly going, that's where you are, this is where you need to go. And the way it updates in real time is, it's not aware of traffic when it turns a route red. It's aware of, there are 57 mobile phones at that junction. Yeah. And it's going, that's too many, that's traffic. Sometimes it's not right. In fact, I think you might have told us a story on the podcast before about a fella who put a load of phones in a shopping trolley. And I think I told you, put a load of phones in a shopping trolley and went to like a junction somewhere, and Google Maps went, insane traffic jam. And it was a guy with phones.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So you can kind of trick it.
You can kind of trick it. But I want to get back to why it only exists because 2 brothers lost their jobs.
Go on.
So we're back in 2002. Yeah. And there's 2 software engineers. They're Lars and Jens Rasmussen. And they're working in Silicon Valley, and they're getting on great. They're really clever lads. Everything's going grand. They're kind of getting equity in this firm, and they're getting big salaries here. They're part of the tech bubble, and then the dot-com bubble burst, as we all know. Companies collapsed overnight, and the two brothers were made redundant. Not an easy scenario to find yourself in. And in that situation, most people look for the CV, fire off applications, kind of, where can I go next,
Yeah.
Jens says to Lars, look, nobody in our industry is hiring right now in this tech bubble industry. It's not going to happen. Let's build something ourselves. So in 2002, online maps already existed. And do you remember MapQuest? Did you ever come across MapQuest?
Yeah.
So MapQuest was a big one, but it was awful. Okay? It was 2002. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You'd type in an address. You'd wait until the very slow internet kind of caught up. You'd click next. You'd wait again. And every time you moved the map, it had to reload the entire map of the United States if this was in America, for example.
Yeah.
So you would, so at this point, sorry, you couldn't, it wasn't that you were getting directions. It was like a roadmap in your car. You could plot your route. So you would say to yourself, okay, if I leave Wyoming, I'm going to turn onto the I-62 and I'm going to go here, whatever. What way will I go then? Oh, I'll get to Wilmington, Delaware. And then so you would be plotting your route in the same way. Yes, I know my US geography is impeccable. Apologies to our American listeners. But I guess what I mean is that it wasn't just a case of like putting into Google Maps and it tells you where to go. Yeah. This was like plotting a journey, whatever.
And then I get my sextant from the glove compartment.
In between clicking next, you could go off and do a day's work or certainly boil the kettle and have a cup of coffee or whatever. Yeah. Like it was slow. So the brothers said, okay, let's get out of Silicon Valley. So they moved to Australia. Okay. And they teamed up with a couple of Australian programmers. It was 4 of them. No office, no investors, no HQ. They just figured that mapping was going to become a big thing. Yeah. And that maps currently were terrible. So they set up a company called Where and the number 2 Technologies. Yeah. It's a brilliant name. They weren't trying to make maps prettier. They weren't offering, the satellite kind of. Certainly, I have it in my Google Maps. I don't use the cartoony maps. I use the ultra hyper realistic.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I love it. I love when it comes up on my screen and it's like it looks. You're looking in and you're seeing into Neil Delamere's garden, going, look at this, look at how much space he has there.
Really?
I love that. I love that's brilliant. So I use it all the time. Anyway, they were just trying to make maps
work
and feel alive, and their big kind of USP of their company was they chopped the world into thousands of tiny squares, so that when you moved the map in something like MapQuest, which what they built, you were only reloading the little square. You weren't reloading the whole page. Okay,
yeah,
sounds obvious today, but this is 2003. People thought it was magic. They were like, how is this happening? So eventually their company got successful. People started taking notice and they got a meeting with Larry in Google. Okay. Larry Page, he saw the demo. He was like, this is absolutely phenomenal. We need this technology.
What are you doing with the pen, Larry?
Yeah, Larry was okay with the pen.
Why are you moving the pen, Larry?
Ben was staying put other than signing the contract. Except for one problem.
Oh, go on.
He did not want it to be software. That's what these guys had built. They had built a purchasable software, like a CD-ROM.
Okay.
Or you had to buy the software, and the way you have to buy Microsoft Word, you had to physically buy it, and then you have to download. And Larry went, no, I want this to work inside a web browser. That's a massively different ask of programmers. And their entire product was desktop software. That was their whole thing, was that you would go home, you would buy the CD-ROM, you would load it onto your desktop, you would let it load the gigs and gigs and gigs of map data, and then you could flick around, and the movement was slick and everything because they had divided the world into these squares. And he said, no, I want that. And they were like, okay, you're Google, we'll do it. And he went, I want it in 3 weeks. And he was like, no. So that's like, I'm trying to put this into a kind of an understandable analogy. The software people reckon this would be like me walking into your house here, telling you I love your house and will pay you an unbelievably large amount of money for it.
But you have to build it in.
But you have to dismantle this house brick by brick, load it onto a truck and drive it 2 houses down the road and rebuild it in 3 weeks.
Jesus.
That's the ask from Larry Page. And he says, if you do that, I'll buy it off you. But you have to give it to me in the next month.
Why does he want it in the next month?
Because he knew that everyone else was developing maps.
Oh, okay.
Google had to be first.
You got to be first. Okay, yeah.
So there's only 4 of them, the 2 brothers, Jens and Lars, and then the 2 Aussie lads. And they just worked around the clock. Hardly any sleep. Shifts. Who's through the night tonight? You two will sleep and we'll come back in at 4 a.m. and start and you go to bed and you come back in at 8 and take out. Like almost no sleep. They completely rebuilt the entire product from scratch, turned it into an in-browser web option, went back to Google, and Google bought the company in October 2004. The lads got hired by Google, having been paid handsomely for their creation. Do we know how
much they were paid?
We don't know how much, no.
But it's enough to buy a reasonable sized yacht.
I would suggest there's yachts involved at this point. A few months later, they launched Google Maps. And according to Lars Rasmussen, it was so popular on the first day that it almost clogged Google's entire servers. Because people just loved the drag feature of the map.
It was insane. I mean, if you remember it before, if you existed before it and existed after it, it is insane.
It is, really is. So you're talking about late 2004, early 2005. You can go anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
you can see the streets. Yeah, okay, they didn't have downwards, satellites like they do now, but literally, everything was mapped. You could see the distance between, I don't know, Baghdad and Tehran. You could things you just you could see in a book, but now you could drag it and see the actual junctions and all these kind of things. But a couple of things about Google Maps that to this day are amazing. Think of the industries that have grown from Google Maps.
So Deliveroo and Just Eat and DoorDash,
Uber.
whatever it's called, Uber,
everything like Airbnb, to be able to find, these locations.
Everything is, we'll send you a dropped pin to.
Yeah.
I got a jet ski the other day and it was like, this is where the pier is.
Told you he's a billionaire. I got a jet ski on my to put in my yacht.
Yeah.
But so every time you think of something that requires directions or an address, like you are using Lars and Jens's software, the two Danish lads who lost their jobs, moved to Australia and then went, look, we'll see what happens. One of my other cool things about Google Maps is, tell me about the logo.
Okay.
Can you think of it in your head?
No, but I think I have the aphantasia that we talked about before.
About icons?
No.
Okay. So the icon is obviously a square and it's a red circle, but it comes into a pinched point down at the corner. In fact, I'll show it to Neil just to make sure he understands it. You see now, it's actually Google Maps is multicolored, but you see it there.
Yeah.
Now, there's a genius in that. So Jens designed that little teardrop shaped pointer. And the reason he did that was because when they designed it initially, it was just a circle and it sat over the location. It was like you're just dropping a circle wherever. So by turning it into a teardrop, it reveals the map underneath and you can see where you are because it's the little point of the teardrop that is showing you where you're going. Very, very clever.
That sort of stuff.
It's so iconic now that is actually part of it's in the New York in the Modern Art Museum.
Of course it is. Because I mean, that definitely should be, that revolutionized life.
Completely.
I mean, I know it's not the printing press, but like,
no, but if
you're going to argue something that changed how we lived in the last 25 years.
Well, I would give you an example.
It's up there.
I don't think, within reason, I don't think you can get lost anymore. I think getting lost was such a normal part of life. Now, I don't mean getting lost between here and somewhere backwards. But I remember ages before this was a thing, I remember going on holidays with my family, and driving to France, for example.
Yeah.
Getting the boat, going to France. And we had a book.
A
book in the car that was the map of Europe. And you would choose France and you would go, okay, we've got 8 pages of France. That's all we have because we've 8 pages of Germany. We've 8 pages of Italy. 8 pages of France. And you go, we want to go to this town here. It's beside Lyon, but it's in whatever. And we're driving from Paris. We got lost all the time. I remember at one point getting lost literally in the middle of nowhere, and I was the one in the family that spoke French. I was probably 16 and driving into a town and asking was there a hotel, and they said and there was a hotel up the road. It was the weirdest place I've ever been. Le Centre Georges Pompidou was famous because it put all the kind of the inner workings of the building on the outside, so the air conditioning ducts and a lot of the waste stuff was all on the outside of the building rather than the inside. This was almost identical to that, except it was in the middle of rural France, and it was deep blue and bright red, and it was just so weird. But it was a hotel, and I used my French, and we got ourselves a night. And I can't remember whether it was expensive or cheap because...
The thing is, though, okay, so we can go to more places with less planning.
Yeah.
However, we lose that stuff.
You do. You lose...
So you do lose...
Opportunistic random travel, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
for convenience.
For convenience, I think convenience is worth it. The other thing I love is Street View. So they get the cars and they drive them around.
Yeah,
like obviously that's given us loads of things like people falling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they're great.
That was massive at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can tell how big something is by the first few weeks it happens. It launches and everybody goes on, and how many news stories it generates, totally. And that generates loads.
And it still to this day does. Because you still have people finding things, and there's some lovely stories of like.
Their dad who died was in Google Street View, and they go back.
They go back and it's there, and they've saved it because obviously Google Street View does get updated. But the Google Street View is the little yellow fella, right? You know him, and you drop him down. But in different places, he changes. So if you go to Legoland, he's a Lego stick figure.
No way.
Yeah, there's loads really good. There's loads of things that fella he turns into different things. Like say he can be a bike if it's the Tour de France is on. You can drop him and he'd be a bike. Like they've always kind of themed him. So Area 51, he's a little UFO. He's a penguin in the Antarctic. Like,
no way.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. The other thing is then the Street View cars. Well, cars can't always go places, but they want a Street View and they want to Google Map everything. So it's been bikes, it's been snowmobiles, it's been boats, yachts, I'm sure. It's been scuba. They've scuba thing. They've put it on camels. And one of my favorites is they put it on, Street View, Sheep View. They literally did Google Sheep View. Where did they do that?
Where did they do Google Sheep View?
Yeah, just have a think about...
New Zealand?
Yeah, New Zealand was my first thought.
Falklands?
Oh, you're going the right direction. I mean the right...
area?
No, not geographical area, but political, or what do they call that? Socio-political area, as in islands. I'm using terrible
Okay,
clues.
so is it islands?
Yeah.
With loads of sheep on them?
Yeah. I'm pretty
Faroe
sure
Islands?
we've played football there, the Faroe Islands.
And Brian Kerr used to manage them, didn't he?
That's right, he did manage Faroes. So they couldn't, it's so remote and there are so few roads, but they still need to map. And there are trails, and you may, if you're in the Faroes and you want to go and visit Neil Delamere, you may need to go, but they can't send a car. So they put it on these like 360 cameras on the shoulders of sheep and made them walk, and we got ourselves Google Sheep View, which is
that should be called
UTV.
favorites.
Oh, very good.
Come on now,
very good.
Come on now.
Although some people in the Midlands would call it Your TV.
I don't care, they're wrong.
Yo MTV Raps, a different show.
That is class.
Yeah. I thought you'd like that.
Okay, well, I want to hear more about your outfit in the bonus episodes.
Let's do it,
and we might talk about jet skis as well.
Okay.
Bye.